Jimmy's Jam Box. Keep jamming.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jam Box. We're here. We're back at it again, and we're going to get on into it. But before we do, as always, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. You know, I don't know where they are, but you do, and I trust you. With that being said, let's go ahead and get on into it. Here is today's guest.
What's up, everyone? My name is MitchHD. I'm a hyperpop artist from Portland.
Hell yeah. Hello. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, man.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about, like where you're from, what you do, give us that like Tinder profile of your involvement with music.
For sure, man. I'm from the DMV area for the most part is where I was like raised, Maryland to be specific. But I've been in Portland for about 6-7 years now. Moved here just to sort of get away, get to the West Coast, do what I wanted to do and not sort of do like the path that I was, sort of going down. And I love it here.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then what got you into music initially?
Initially, I was kind of like raised to have a lot of like, understanding for music. Like my dad loved music. He was a musician where like he was the first one in his family who did that.
Ah, okay.
And he didn't have like a lot of training or anything, but like when I was a kid, like he'd always be like, who is this? Like on the radio, like always trying to get me in as early as possible. But it never really like took long for it to become like, okay, now I like music.
Yeah.
These are the things that I'm into, started to get to bands and stuff. And I would say other than that, like the church was a big place that like I also found a lot of, opportunity to perform early on.
There's a lot of music in the church.
Yeah, a ton. And, all sorts of, that can range based on whatever church as well.
True.
But, I was in more of like a Lutheran, like more like progressive church where they were, they had a regular band up there most weeks playing songs. And I had the opportunity to go up and perform sometimes at different things. So that was a huge part of my exposure early on.
Hell yeah. And what instruments do you play?
I played a lot of like guitar back in high school. I was like obsessed and I can still play, but like I just haven't had like a good one around that I've been messing with. But I recently got a piano given to me at the end of a move job there was a musician who, couldn't hold on to his electric piano. And he actually had a hit back in the day, probably in like the 60s or something like that. And so I think his spirit has sort of transferred to me, and I'm having a lot of fun with that thing. Like I've finally found like a spark with the keys that I haven't found before.
Yeah, it's like a kinetic energy.
Yeah. There's a lot of motion in that.
I dig. It's lived.
Yeah,
it's lived.
For sure.
Used equipment, when it's like been properly used through a period of time, always kind of has that in it.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Now, what was like your earliest moment with music?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I would say, like the earliest like possible memory time thing having to do with music was like when I was a little kid out here on the radio, like that song, like I get knocked down and I get up again. I would like flop on the ground, jump up and again. And, I was always listening to like Sugar Ray and stuff like that when I lived in like Southern California. So like anytime I hear any music that sort of sounds like that time in that area, like it just throws me back.
Okay. Oh yeah. And then what was actually this next one's a fun one. This is one we ask early. It's one we ask often, and it's definitely a crowd favorite. What was the first album you ever bought with your own money?
Actually I think now that I think about it, that one really brought me back. I had to rub my eye for that. Probably Coldplay. Actually, when I was a young kid, I liked Coldplay early on, and that was probably one of the first times that like I was like, okay, like their new album's out, like I want this, like I'm gonna go ahead and buy this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Weirdly enough, that has been a more recent answer. It's not like the majority answer, but recently Coldplay's been popping up a lot more.
Are there any like majority answers?
a lot of the time, I'm going to say almost 50% of the time, I want to say it's Eminem.
I feel like I almost knew that. That's crazy.
Yeah. No, it's understandable. I mean, we won't get into it now,
No.
but just, yeah, I'm going to say majority answer would have to go to Eminem for sure.
I've never listened to Eminem.
Oh, no, I mean, who's ever heard of him?
No,
I mean,
I don't.
super underground.
Yeah.
You have to be in the know.
Yeah.
All right. And now tell us about the first show that you went to. That was like a show that you wanted to go to.
Yeah. Probably the Deer Hunter, like DEAR.
Okay.
They're just like a band that like this one dude is basically the heart of the band, and he just sort of like started on this independent track and sort of got some traction, but like he just sort of released these like story albums that were like really, it's just like a cult following type of band.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like 15, 14, something like that. And that's who I wanted to go see. So I made it happen.
Hey, yeah. Hell yeah. What was the show like far from where you were?
It was like 45 minutes. It was down in Virginia. I was in Maryland, but that's different than like,
yeah.
I mean, I'm in Washington right now, and I came from Oregon, I guess. So that's not that different, but
yeah. But even then, like that 45 minutes is a very different 45 minutes than out there a little bit. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean that you could go across the state so fast out there.
Yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Now let's go ahead and dive on into you as the artist. And we're going to start with a real easy one.
Okay.
How did you pick your name?
Okay, I got this one. My name is Mitchell, and my name is MitchHD. So like that's me in HD.
Oh.
Because I'm a hyperpop artist, and I think I also got it from like a Z Smoke song where he's like seen in HD, and I was like, I didn't even realize that, but it just like I was like Mitch HD, and then I like heard the song again. I was like, oh yeah, that's probably it.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing though.
No, not at all.
Good correlative aspect for sure.
I was not implying it was bad.
It's for what it's worth, it's an easy name. Like I comment on it on everybody's whenever we bring it up, but some names are easier and harder to remember than others, and some are like on paper don't look as put together. But Mitch HD, like visibly pleasing, easy to remember, not hard on the ears. So I don't know. One day we're gonna put like a little like like when they rate hot sauces, they've got like the heats. It's gonna be like a thumbs up. And it's just going to get bigger and bigger on how like pliable a name is.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's a bit for later.
Give the people a chance to tell us what they think.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. No, I'm kidding. That we're not going to make that an aspect. I'm not actually going to do this. But
roast my name.
Oh no. We had to turn No, I'm kidding. All right, but let's go ahead and get back into it. Let's talk about your writing process.
Okay.
And specifically, let's focus on when you get in the mood, when you get inspired. What are the things that you do to kind of start off a track? And then what decides the track's ready to release?
Okay. Well, my process basically is I gather all of my beats from YouTube. And for people who have done that with like rap, you might find that, you're not going to get that many great results. But thankfully, we're in the early days of this being something that we can access in hyperpop. And there's some really amazing beats out there. So I pick one of those out. I sort of just get it going. And then within like, 10 minutes, I sort of get a feel for it. And then I might just throw down an idea. I might smoke a bowl or something first. But, like when I throw down an idea, I just sort of like throw down a melody. And the words that come out there's consonants, there's vowels, there's no main words though. There's no point where I'm really hearing like a phrase come out. Like maybe it's like seeing a cloud and I could pick out a phrase, but I don't even say any full phrases. So once I have like my melody and my hook, on the song, I basically just take that into the writing, zone. And usually I'll just try to write like the whole song right there. Try to stick to whatever melodies, whatever notes that I put down, whatever like I said, main consonants. Anytime I'm like really hitting on a lot of S's or something like that, I'm gonna try to like recreate that in the lyrics as closely as possible.
Gotcha.
But I do have like a OCD level of like wanting things to make sense. Like I'm not just gonna like make a bunch of words that just fit perfectly. So I really think that when I find that those two things have lined up properly, usually I'll just I'll make a song all the way through, or it'll take me a couple days, but like I don't go back and forth on like, oh, I think it's good, I think it's not. Like I make it and then I decide like, okay, these two things came together and I found something that was like everything worked out or it didn't, and then that's the point where I'm like, okay, like we're gonna take this all the way and release it.
Hell yeah. You have a very concise approach to your process, and I think that's really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, right now it's just what's working. Like it's what I started doing as hyperpop, and once it started clicking, I haven't really done a lot to like shift that process.
I think that a lot of times we look at different styles of music, meaning like a lot of difference in approach, which to a certain amount of that can be true for sure.
Yeah.
But I think once you know a lot of the certain things, like once you know certain parts of general processes, doing anything in any realm becomes more pliable. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. The crossover of things that you can take skills on and apply them is, it's infinite how you can use your creativity to take understanding and to reapply.
And that's kind of an undertone of hyperpop in general, I feel like. Like there are like glaring aspects of what needs to be in it for it to apply. But for the most part, it's a very open format genre to a degree.
That's why I'm doing it 100%. Like I've been so focused on like, I love music. This is what I want to do. I'm going to break out. I'm going to do I'm going to make my thing. And I've done that a little bit before in like hip hop, but like never like the moment that I like just realized the potential, like it's just been nonstop since then. It's been months and months and months of like, this is what I'm focused on. This is what I care about. And it was completely out of the blue, besides the fact that I was just primed. Like I'm always singing in the car. I've been practicing instruments for a long time, always thinking about the melodies, thinking about the lyrics.
Yeah.
But it was just like freedom. It was like the fact that I can do whatever I want to do, like in so many different ways, was just huge.
Hell yeah. I remember the first time I heard it's a duo called Chromeo, and they do electronic funk. But it's like real dancey, real like two-steppy. But it's really good like music. Like the instrumentation is done well, everything is put together really well. And at the time, I made like, I forget where the line is here, but I was either making like really like heavy music, like just like really chuggy stuff. I was a bass player in like too many heavy bands that I don't even know the genres of.
Yeah.
Or I was making like dubstep. Somewhere in that line, somebody showed me Chromeo and I was like, holy shit, like you can use these sounds and make this sound at the same time. And they were like, yeah. And I never looked back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like now, like second main instrument other than bass is talkbox for sure. For sure. I love all kinds of synth stuff. I love like really like just like balance, but like up to that point, I'd never known it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's interesting for sure to just see that. You just don't think that they can connect like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's bound to happen over time. And like the way that hyperpop has evolved in that sense too is interesting, of just like, it's based on mashup music. It's based on people taking two sounds that you didn't think that would work together.
Yeah.
And just like finding that intersection.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Well, excited to see what you do with it.
I can't wait.
Now, I know you're working on a full album, but you also currently have a single out. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah. So I have one single out right now that I'm really excited about. I have a couple others that are with features, but this is my most recent. It's my first by myself. It's called Hand in Hand. And it's produced by Wixie.
Hell yeah.
Just, producer online who's a G. And I'm just like, it's my main focus, right? It was sort of like, I didn't really know where my sound was really going to start to hit and be like what I wanted. And then this song just like came out like just completely, just flowed. And, within like a day, I'd finished the song basically, besides like, the real tweaking and stuff. I had done like a lot of the verse on like in like one take. I was able to get it all. And like,
oh, hell yeah.
Like the take you hear is actually just one take on the track. And that sort of just like solidified. I was like, yeah, this is just it. Like it just felt right.
Hell yeah. Do you often prioritize a one take approach?
No.
Okay.
So it was like,
So
I
then
didn't have any desire to do
out of the normal for you.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, that came out.
Oh
perfect.
shit.
I'm gonna run it because this feels like a raw song. This feels like me. Like maybe it wasn't perfect, but it came out good enough that I was like, I want to use the
Yeah.
one take.
Yeah. The imperfections made it a little more perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Now, how would you say, I mean, this is kind of a broad question, so answer it just kind of however you would feel. But compared to that one song, what would you say the main differences in the sound that the album's moving towards?
Yeah. The album probably has one, major defining like factor besides my vocals and like the structure of the songs that I produce. Cause for the most part, it's like hook, verse, hook. That's going to be most songs.
Yeah.
But there's a general, like there's a lot of electric guitars that are looped in an interesting way. That's going to be one of the main thematic like sounds that you'll hear. And like the mood and like feelings that you're going to hear from me are generally pretty similar. They're either like a little introspective about me being upset about something, or the reaction thereof of me being like, aggressive in some way. Maybe not necessarily like that I'm being mean, but that I'm just like, I'm breaking out, doing my thing, and you're going to feel like my reactive energy there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, now why don't we go ahead and talk about people reacting to your music? Tell us about either one of your most recent shows or one of your most favorite shows that you've ever performed.
If we're going to talk about a show that I performed at, I'm going to have to talk about the Portland Hyperpop Showcase.
Yes. Shout out Z Smoke. Shout out Portland Hyperpop. That's
Sir.
I mean, before you get into it, I have to put this on record.
Yeah.
I have heard so many cool things about it from so many people. I mean, a lot of people come through here on a regular basis. And so like, not just because, Z Smoke's a friend of the show, but like just from observation, like I've heard really cool things about it. So I'm excited to see what comes from that in the future for sure. So definitely had to get that on here officially, Jambox approved.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. But tell us about your most recent one.
So the most recent one was with G2 Pad. It was with Earth Lab Libations down right across the street from the Vern, which was really cool for me because that's like a neighborhood that like a lot of my friends live in. I don't live over there, but like I like to hang out down there.
Yeah. I mean, being close to your people is helpful.
100%. Like a good number of friends came out, a couple of people that just know the music came out, and it was just really cool to like be out in the open and like across from a bar because like I do. Like if I go like out and like hang out with people, like my friends and like just meet people at the bar, like I'm not really like the type of person that like the entire time I'm MitchHD. I might not even talk about it at all or mention it to someone. So it was cool to like
know your name was Mitch.
So it was cool to like naturally be like out in that type of like somewhere where I'm social as myself.
Yeah.
But then now I'm MitchHD and I'm out loud and it was in a spot where like, you could hear it 2 blocks down the street.
Yep. Hell yeah.
It's cool.
Hell yeah. Well, definitely excited for the third one. Because I'm sure there will be one.
Yes. Okay. So that was my most recent performance because I got switched up there. Hyperpop Showcase. PEX Hyperpop Showcase is the fucking shit. We had the lights from Skelly Jelly.
Oh, fuck yeah. Shout out Max.
DJ Arcadia was there. So many great artists. Hopeless was the headliner for the second one. I got to perform at both Volume 1, Volume 2. It was, it will and it was and probably will always be the greatest performance that I'm ever a part of, besides the following volumes. I just don't think anything will ever top it.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Well, again, definitely looking forward to the third one. Sorry about the mix-up there earlier.
No, I just wanted to clarify. We good.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Now we've got one last question to go to round out the artist focus portion. And this question's kind of a dense one. So what is it about music that matters to you the most? And not like what comes from it, but like when you're in the thick of it, when you're making music, when it's just you and the music one-on-one. What is it about the process that just keeps you coming back to it?
I think like the true challenge to myself. It's the combination of emotional and like puzzling kind of challenge because, I'm trying to put lyrics together but the lyrics are about me. And then at the same time, they're going to be a representation that I have to stand behind. So, that is a thing where like, I like to be, I like to try to perceive myself, try to understand myself, make myself better without music involved to begin with. So to try to continually address that, have to come to terms with who I am, face reality, and how I want to sort of make people think about, their perception of like, because it's like I could go on the album and talk about all my pain from my perspective, but at no point am I going to suggest that anybody who I've had a conflict with is like, that their perception is any less valuable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I've noticed throughout our entire conversation that like a big point for you is connection. Like it's a key word you've used multiple times. And I think something that I find interesting is that you're able to kind of like narrate about your music in an almost like you're sharing your moment type way. So you're not even like saying like everybody should feel this way. You're like, this is just how I feel. And you're letting the listener interpret it however they want to. So you're not narrating their experience almost. It sounds like you're narrating your own and just letting people now share it. So they leave knowing a little bit more about you. And that's a cool way. That is a very cool way to connect with your audience. So I think you are, if that is your goal, and it seems like that's the main drive, at least you're on the right path for that concept.
Yeah, I'm definitely focused on connecting with my listeners on a deeper level. And really, I mean, it's not, when you're writing, you're not writing history.
Yeah.
You're not saying that this is what happened, even if it's a song that's about something that's real in your life.
Yeah.
But what you are doing is you're saying out loud how you feel. And sometimes for me, even like that's a way that I understand how I feel to begin with. Like if I think I'm feeling something, like I will just say things to people in my life, and I'll see I'll test the waters of like, if I say this, do I really feel like when I said it, like that's what I mean?
Yeah.
That's how I feel.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, thanks for going down that road with us.
Sure, man.
Let's go ahead and move on to some hypothetical questions. And these are all kind of sky's the limits. There are no wrong answers.
Cool.
And for the first one, if you could work with any one artist who's currently alive, and if it's a group, you have to pick a single member.
Okay.
Who would you pick, and how would you work with them?
This is a tough one because I'm a newer hyperpop artist, and I feel maybe a pressure to be like, I love this hyperpop artist. I'd love to work with them.
I mean, you're a person who's liked music long enough to have an opinion of other genres. You know what I mean?
For sure. I would say it's an unnecessary hesitation, but I would probably work with Don Toliver.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And how would you work with them?
We just get on a track. I'm not going to make him do anything too crazy.
Okay.
Make him have him sing if he's willing to. He could play the triangle or something if he's not feeling it. But I don't know. I mean, we'd get on a song and we'd make a banger.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean, I support that.
Cool.
And then subsequently, who's a local artist that you're aware of that you haven't like directly connected with yet, but you would like to work with?
I recently just heard a few songs from E.I. Burry. I think that's the name, E-I-B-U-R-I-E.
Okay.
And I think they maybe like Z Smoke has been talking to him.
Oh, hell yeah.
So maybe we could work on something at some point. But this is more about just like, they're dope. Like their music's really awesome. Like I don't necessarily need to work with them, but just like,
hell yeah.
What
do you like about their sound?
I would say that they have like a lot of swag, but a lot of stylization that's beyond that. A lot of like expressive stylization in that sense too. And then they're very much just like, it seems like they are themselves in a space like, like they're taking like two different worlds and sort of mixing them together. And I like that.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the foundation of hyperpop in itself, though, isn't it?
You caught me.
Yeah. That's I feel like that's. I mean, not obviously there are core elements that I think that exist throughout all of it, but I feel like it's just kind of a big melting pot of like this aspect and something you like.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, when you can find similarities, but then also like some contrast of, combining worlds that you didn't think would necessarily make sense together, it's a good thing.
It's super inclusive.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. All right, now for this next one, sky's the limits, literally. If you could perform anywhere in the world and you wouldn't have to worry about crowd access or building stability or power, guaranteed best show ever, where would you want it to be?
Oh man. There's down in California, like on the north coast, kind of near Humboldt.
Okay.
There's this little like inlet where this water comes in, and there's like a sandbar.
Oh.
And in the morning, or like whenever the tide comes in, all these fish wash in, and there's these sea lions that live there. They just feed all day.
Oh shit.
And like because of like the way that the sandbar is set up and everything, there's like no predators. It's just them. And like every day they get an allotment of fish, and they just hang out on the beach.
Hell yeah.
So I would love to just perform like on that sandbar, just hang out with them.
Hell yeah. Just to them.
I think that would be better, because if I think about it, I don't want to just bring a bunch of people and like ruin their time. Like I'd probably just perform to them.
I mean, I think they count as an audience.
I think so.
Yeah. And I bet you there are a bunch of them there.
There's yeah.
And
Guaranteed audience, probably the biggest audience I've ever had.
Shoot. I mean, it definitely an interesting audience. Hell yeah. All right. Now to wrap everything up, if you had to pick a completely different genre than any other style you've done before, and if you've like done a song with like more than one on there, both of those are excluded. Okay. And you can't pick country music or anything that's like dominantly electronic.
Okay.
What would you pick?
I know a lot of people have done this, but I think I would be a good sea shanty singer.
Okay.
I can explain. In song, with my most recent single.
Please do.
I'm catching a flight, it's only one way. I love the city, I swear that I wanted to stay. Thank you, that's it.
Oh, damn, I thought you were gonna...
No.
Well, there you go, y'all. You're going to have to pay the OnlyFans to see the rest of it. No.
Yep.
He just had that idea, y'all. Get ready. There's one coming now. It's fully clothed. It's just you doing that the whole time.
My guy.
Lucrative.
I don't want to be that rich. It's too much.
Wait, I just said fully clothed. It's just you doing sea shanties.
I know, and I'm going to make a lot of money.
True. I'll get ready. All right, we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. Why don't you tell us what you have coming up in the, let's say, end of October to the end of the year?
Okay, well, my first and foremost goal is that I'm going to beat the high score in the pit in Modern Warfare 2.
Oh,
it's
shit.
Like the training camp thing.
Oh, shit.
Best time ever in the world for that version, 22.6 seconds. I'm at 24.3.
Okay.
Within 2 seconds.
Okay,
so just watch out for that.
Yeah, it should only take a couple seconds.
Yeah. Ideally, I go home and I finish it in the first minute.
After this. Yeah.
Then I guess I'm going to release my album.
Boom. Perfect.
Boom. Tearing at my clothes.
Hell yeah.
It's talking about toxic relationship where basically, sometimes some people are upset at each other. They grab at their clothing. There's a little bit of scratching, tearing. It's not a good thing. But what I've done is this is talking about my reclamation of the tears in clothing by purchasing them, creating them. And basically that's the healing that's involved in this album. It's talking about toxic relationship things, but as well as, breaking out of that. And it's not negative. I would say that it's a good thing to just explore the reality of feelings, but it's not about hate or anything like that.
No,
it's about love.
You used the word reclamation that I think really emphasizes it. You took something that visually is a negative narrative and instead presented it without the negative aspect. So it's kind of a removal of the unfortunate part of it and just left it with the presence.
Exactly. Yeah. Like I reclaim that for sure.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
And got a couple singles coming out leading up to the release of that.
Exciting.
Actually, I got a couple like before and then single for the album. So we'll see it all come out soon.
Hell yeah. And then for this next one, go ahead and look straight at the camera and tell everybody how they can find you.
You can find me online in all sorts of ways. Instagram is MitchHD.x, as well as like, Spotify, SoundCloud, all that stuff is just MitchHD. No space, MitchHD.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. And then any other plugs, any other shout outs, anybody else you want to put on while you're on here?
Gotta get me going. Fuck Clout.
Oh yeah. Shout out Fuck Clout. Yes, sir. Quagmane, friend of the show.
Z Smoke, PDX Hyperpop, Eris Moon, Hopeless, Wixie, all the producers, Alan, Siempre Mood is his name, Kai. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. All right. Now we've got one last question to go.
Z Hops. Thank you.
But before we do, I'm going to steal the camera for just a second. So I'll be right back. As always, y'all, please make sure to like, subscribe, push all the buttons, do all the things. I don't know where they are, but you do. And I trust you. And with that being said, the final question. What is your guilty pleasure song?
I know this one. Did you see Nav? He was off the perkies.
Hell yeah.
Leaning.
Hell yeah. Solid choice.
Thank you.
Solid choice. All right. We're going to go ahead and get up on out of here. Thank you so much for coming through.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. This has been another exciting episode of Jimmy's Jambox. I'm Jimmy.
I'm Mitch HD.
And we're signing off. Later, y'all.
That's a wrap. This is not a podcast. This is a show. Keep jamming.